Furthermore. Used when adding a connected statement. She learned how to swim. Furthermore, she is now learning how to dive. Our National Museum is elegant. Furthermore, it's in a suitable location. She is a skilled athlete. Furthermore, she can play multiple sports. He is a reliable friend. Furthermore, he always keeps his promises. As well as. With equal reason or an equally good result. Knowledge can be gained through experience as well as education. It's important to show compassion to ourselves as well as others. They advertised its products on television as well as in newspapers. Success can be found in small accomplishments as well as big ones. Therefore, as a result or consequence, education can solve all problems, therefore its spread is very necessary. He developed pleasant manners and therefore he gained many friends. The information I received was third-hand and therefore unreliable. The two products were almost identical and therefore exchangeable. Unless describing the result if something does not happen. This city will suffer from an acute water shortage unless it rains soon. You can't see the faults in others unless the same faults are in yourself. Nobody can exercise any power upon you unless you allow him to do so. We will not buy the machine unless you give a guarantee for its durability. Simultaneously. Existing or occurring at the same time. The two actors kissed simultaneously, creating a romantic moment. You can't please everyone and stay true to yourself simultaneously. The two artists painted simultaneously, creating a collaborative piece. He was reviewing the reports and answering emails simultaneously. Historically. With reference to past events. Gold has been historically used as a measure of value in many cultures. It is known that garlic was used as a medicine in many cultures historically. Social movements have historically had a significant impact on society. Real wages for women have historically been lower than those for men. Correspondingly. Having or participating in the same relationship. The temperature dropped correspondingly as the sun went down. The more you exercise, correspondingly, the healthier you will be. As the population grows, correspondingly, the demand for land increases. The new exam is longer and correspondingly more difficult to pass. Otherwise. Under other circumstances or another manner. You need to be organized, otherwise, you'll forget important things. You should be humble, otherwise, you might come across as arrogant. The test helps identify problems that might otherwise go unnoticed. You should read more, otherwise, you won't improve your vocabulary. In order to with the aim or purpose of doing something. Try to understand yourself in order to better understand others. The government plans to cut taxes in order to stimulate the economy. Mind needs to be fed with proper nutrition in order to attain wisdom. We need more feedback from the consumer in order to improve our goods. To sum up, give a brief summary of something. To sum up, the research suggests that exercise can improve mental health. To sum up, the prices of commodities should be set at a reasonable cost. To sum up, the study found that meditation can reduce stress and anxiety. To sum up, the book provided valuable insights into the history of the region. Subsequently, at a later or subsequent time. The appointment was missed and subsequently, they had to reschedule. The restaurant received a bad review and subsequently lost customers. If you don't invest wisely, subsequently you may suffer financial losses. The jury found the defendant guilty and he was subsequently prosecuted. Regardless. Despite the prevailing circumstances. Loneliness can affect anyone, regardless of age or background. It's important to be respectful of everyone, regardless of bias. You should always be responsible, regardless of how old you are. Stay focused and fight for your purpose, regardless of distractions. Although, regardless of the fact that, although it was a long process, they eventually overcame the challenge. Although they had different backgrounds, they found common interests. She is a talented singer, although she lacks confidence on stage. Although the characters in the novel are true to life, they are imaginary. As long as, depending upon some condition or requirement. It's okay to fail sometimes, as long as you learn from your mistakes. You can play whatever sport you like, as long as you follow the rules. He's willing to work anywhere in the world as long as the job pays well. We can keep our environment safe as long as we take good care of it. Owing to. Introducing the reason for something. The evidence was concealed owing to the ongoing investigation. She was confounded owing to the complexity of the math problem. The company's profits are at their lowest owing to the pandemic. The beauty of the painting was debased owing to the poor restoration. Because of. Used to say who or what causes something. The company went bankrupt because of poor financial management. The air was smoky because of a sudden wildfire in the nearby forest. Just because you're the boss, it doesn't mean you can be rude to us. Global warming is increasing day by day because of deforestation. Despite. Without taking any notice of or being influenced by. Despite the benefits of technology, there are some drawbacks as well. The overall economic condition is favorable, despite a few problems. Despite all the hours of practice and training, they lost the game. The festival passed off peacefully, despite the fears of local residents. Straight away. Without any delay immediately. The student raised their hand straight away to answer the question. The driver carefully navigated the straightaway to avoid any obstacles. The motorcycle accelerated into a straightaway, reaching top speed. The company has found a radical solution to the problem straight away. However, contradicts something that has been said previously. I was looking forward to the concert, however, it got cancelled. She was hoping to get a good grade, however, she didn't study enough. We wanted to go to the amusement park, however, it was too crowded. I wanted to go swimming, however, the pool was closed for maintenance. Accordingly. In a way that is suitable. When the learners receive instructions, they need to act accordingly. If we are camping, let's listen to each other and respond accordingly. If you receive any negative feedback, make sure to respond accordingly. Once the payment is received, they will process your order accordingly. Likewise. In the same way or manner. I am a vegetarian, and likewise, my roommate follows a plant-based diet. The movie received critical acclaim, likewise, it was a box office success. He voted for the change and he expected his colleagues to do likewise. I enjoy hiking, and likewise, my sister loves to go on long walks in nature. In other words, to explain something more clearly. He's a fast runner, in other words, he can cover long distances quickly. Einstein was a great physicist in the world, in other words, he was a genius. The book was difficult to understand, in other words, it was too complex. The weather is unpredictable, in other words, it can change at any moment. On the contrary. Used to add to a negative statement. It wasn't a good thing, on the contrary, it was a huge mistake. It doesn't seem ugly to me, on the contrary, I think it's rather beautiful. I thought she would be upset, on the contrary, she was thrilled with that. You think you are clever, on the contrary, I assure you that you are very foolish. Due to. Because of something or someone. Thousands of people are dying every year due to a lack of medical facilities. I received many wrong calls due to some technical defect in the instrument. Tropical rainforests are depleting due to the mass cutting of these forests. Some people say that they have been broken down due to overwork. So that, subsequently or soon afterward, we need to harmonize policy so that everyone is happy and healthy. They made new initiatives so that we could have a good education. Double-check the instructions so that you don't misapprehend the plan. Please reduce background noise so that we can have a clear conversation. As soon as. In the shortest possible time. The best time to go for a morning walk is as soon as one gets up. You shouldn't spend all your money as soon as you've earned it. I'll be looking for a new place to live as soon as I graduate from college. I admire that house, and as soon as I get money, I will build a similar one. Thus, as a result or consequence of something. The lawyer presented a compelling argument, thus winning the case. The government implemented new policies, thus reducing crime rates. The politician made promises, thus gaining the support of the voters. She practiced her language skills, thus she became fluent in Spanish. As a result. Because of something that has happened. The student experienced torment as a result of academic pressure. As a result of the protest, the government agreed to make changes. The farmer mismanaged crops as a result of poor weather forecasting. As a result of the new law, smoking is now banned in public places. Not only but also used to present two related pieces of information. The controversy not only damages sales but also damages the reputation. My favorite seafish are not only sharks but also dolphins and jellyfish. Not only will they paint the outside of the house but also the inside. Not only does she speak Spanish but she also speaks French fluently. Even though. Despite the fact that. Even though she was allergic to cats, she adopted one anyway. He managed to pass the exam even though he didn't study much. The game was intense, even though it was just a friendly match. She made a lot of spelling mistakes, even though it is an essay. On the other hand, used to introduce a contrasting point of view. She is a hard-working student, on the other hand, her brother is lazy. He is a skilled chef, on the other hand, his restaurant is often empty. I'd like to eat out, but on the other hand, I am planning to save money. I'd like a job that pays more, on the other hand, I enjoy my present job. Besides. Over and above, in addition to. Sarah is very creative. Besides painting, she also enjoys writing poetry. He enjoys playing chess, and besides that, is an avid collector of coins. The city has numerous attractions. Besides, it has a rich cultural heritage. Besides working as an engineer, he also writes novels in his spare time. Moreover, used for introducing additional facts. She is a successful entrepreneur, moreover, she is also a loving mother. The movie was entertaining. Moreover, the special effects were impressive. The restaurant had delicious food. Moreover, the service was excellent. Texting while driving is dangerous. Moreover, it's illegal in some states. Apart from. Except for someone or something. It was a difficult time. Apart from all that, we had financial problems. The girl was standing a bit apart from the rest of us, watching us. We didn't see anyone, apart from a couple of kids on the beach. Apart from vaccines, there is no known way to protect against the flu. In the meantime, in the period of time between two events, I need to finish this report, but in the meantime, I'll grab a cup of coffee. The doctor will be here soon. In the meantime, please fill out these forms. He's waiting for his flight, but in the meantime, he's reading a magazine. The concert hasn't started yet. In the meantime, we can find our seats. Conversely, introducing statement that says opposite thing. Jim struggles in math class, but conversely, he shows a talent for writing. American prefers white eggs. Conversely, British buyers like brown eggs. Her husband is a Republican voter. She, conversely, is a Democrat. You can add the fluid to the powder or, conversely, the powder to the fluid. On account of. Introduce the reason or explanation for something. On account of the rain, we'll have to postpone the game until next week. Jack had been excused from military service on account of short-sightedness. The company decided to augment on account of increased demand. Dinner was somewhat delayed on account of David's rather tardy arrival. In the past. Gone by in time and no longer existing. In the past, the government had a monopoly on television broadcasting. Maybe that was what made him such a good salesman in the past. Some US industries are not as competitive as they have been in the past. In the past, a woman needed to be chaste to make a good marriage. Traditionally. As part of a long-established custom. The bamboo was traditionally used in Africa for dance performances. Farmers in this region traditionally grow tobacco as their main crop. The immediate family traditionally consists of parents and their offspring. Agricultural work is traditionally seen as a male occupation in many societies. Such as. Similar to like for introducing examples. They are already battling to eradicate illnesses such as malaria and tetanus. Harmful activities such as logging and mining diminish natural resources. Supplements such as creatine can aid in increasing muscle mass. Women tend to attribute their success to external causes such as luck. In spite of. Without being affected or prevented by. In spite of its tremendous benefits, there is a negative side to science. In spite of my continually inviting him to visit me, he never came. Our forces gained ground in spite of resistance from the enemy. In spite of their different background, they immediately became friends. Notably, in a way that attracts or deserves attention. The company's profits have notably increased over the past year. The museum's collection includes notably rare and valuable artifacts. The accessory is notably versatile and can be worn with many outfits. The restaurant is notably popular for its delicious seafood dishes. Rather, to indicate one's preference in a particular matter. Try not to become a man of success. Rather become a man of value. I would rather walk with a friend in the dark than alone in the light. Rather than wishing for change, you first must be prepared to change. She said she'd rather be adventurous than stay in her comfort zone. As if. Used to emphasize that something is not true. Act as if you are open-minded, even if you have strong opinions. You should imagine yourself as if you have already achieved your goals. The student answered the question as if he had studied all night. She shook her head as if to clear it of distracting thoughts. In case. A precaution against the event that. In this city, the highway has emergency phones in case we need help. The hospital has a backup generator in case there is a power failure. Most of the boats have paddles in case the motor stops working. I don't think I'll need any money, but I'll bring some just in case. Eventually. In the end, especially after a long delay. Keep on working, and you will eventually reach your destination. The thunderstorm was frightening at that time, but it eventually passed. The students found the lessons hard, and eventually lost concentration. Initially, the rumors were rampant, but the truth eventually came out. Consequently. Used to indicate cause, effect, and outcome. She was a bright student and, consequently, did well in the exam. This poses a threat to agriculture, and consequently to human health. The book has no main character. Consequently, it lacks a traditional plot. He has never been to China. Consequently, he knows very little about it. Set apart. Separate something and use for a special purpose. The museum set apart a section for displaying ancient artifacts. It's important to set apart time for volunteering and community service. The teacher set apart a special area in the classroom for group work. You need to set apart your emotions when making important decisions. Prior to. Existing or happening before something else. The company conducted a survey prior to launching the new product. Some people undervalue the impact of their words prior to speaking. It is important to have a backup plan prior to starting any project. All the arrangements should be completed prior to our final departure. Overall. In general, rather than in particular. Overall, industry representatives say, their advertising has been successful. We took 4 trains and the overall duration of the journey was 72 hours. Their overall strategy is quite good, but some of the details could be improved. She didn't win every race in the competition, but she was the overall winner. Meanwhile, in the intervening period of time, the author wrote the book, meanwhile the editor made corrections. The traffic was heavy, meanwhile, we were listening to music in the car. I am doing a science experiment, meanwhile, you can watch and learn. The teacher lectured on the subject, meanwhile the students took notes. Over time. Indicating for a long period of time. A little planning early on can save you a lot of trouble over time. Over time, their acquaintance developed into a lasting friendship. He practiced a lot and over time became quite an expert on the subject. It is intended that YouTube will become more comprehensive over time. Nonetheless, despite what has just been said or referred to, I was frustrated. Nonetheless, I took a deep breath and tried again. I was nervous. Nonetheless, I gave my speech in front of the class. The essay was long. Nonetheless, I finished it before the deadline. There was still a long way to go. Nonetheless, something has improved. In particular, specifically distinguished from others. The species of bird is only found in particular conditions of habitat. The meal was good at the party, but the wine in particular was excellent. The plant thrived in particular conditions of temperature and humidity. She was telling me how much he loved animals, horses in particular. Since, from a definite past time until now. Since you are busy with the project, I shall visit you some other day. These cultural customs have been observed since time immemorial. Children have been routinely immunized against polio since 1960. I have been made acutely aware of that fact since I was a child. Provided that only if a particular thing happens, she will pay in full, provided that the product is delivered on time. Provided that you attend to the details, your project will be a success. I will visit the museum with John, provided that he is interested in art. Provided that the boat leaves on time, we should reach by morning. Recently. At a recent time, not long ago. The long-dormant volcano has recently shown signs of risky eruption. She has recently been moved to another prison for exactly that reason. More recently, banks have shown incompetence with technology. He was in Congress for 30 years, but he recently retired from public life. Nevertheless, in spite of that, however, he had a busy schedule. Nevertheless, he made time for his family. The test was hard. Nevertheless, I studied and got a good grade. The bank is guarded around the clock, but robberies occur nevertheless. I was lost. Nevertheless, I asked for directions and found my way. Whereas, in contrast or comparison with the fact that I prefer reading physical books, whereas my friend prefers e-books. The old method was complicated, whereas the new method is very simple. Whereas some people prefer solitude, others thrive in social settings. Your hair has a natural wave, whereas mine's just straight and boring. In addition, to add an extra piece of information, listening to music has a benefit in addition to improving mood. Journalists should be accountable in addition to being unbiased. The proposal was altered in addition to addressing new concerns. Cooking meals at home has a benefit in addition to saving money. Especially used to single out one person or thing over all others. Tobacco use is not recommended for anyone, especially children. Outdoor manual labor can be strenuous, especially in hot weather. Breakups can be especially challenging when children are involved. I love the peacefulness of wintertime, especially when it snows. Alternatively, as another option or possibility, the terms alternatively and convertibly can be used interchangeably. She could work from home. Alternatively, she could go into the office. Instead of playing video games, alternatively, you could play outside. Alternatively, we could watch a movie instead of going to the concert. Whether expressing a doubt or choice between alternatives. He was indecisive about whether to take the job offer or not. No matter whether you win or lose, it's important to play fair. The argument was about whether or not to take a language class. The question in my mind is whether I should study abroad or not. In conclusion, used to introduce the final comments at the end. In conclusion, I believe that everyone should have access to education. In conclusion, the proposal will not work without some major changes. In conclusion, it's clear that we need to improve our customer service. In conclusion, my final statement is that we must promote social justice. In general, in most situations, or for most people, In general, technology has revolutionized the way we communicate. Biotic food in general improves the condition of your large intestines. The climate is in general cold and humid, especially in the northeast. Leafy vegetables in general are known to have cold curing powers. Yet, used in negative statements and questions. Though thy enemy looks like a mouse, yet watch him like a lion. We don't like rain, yet we live in the state with the most rainfall. In many cases, a man may talk like a wise man and yet act like a fool. Something wasn't right, yet the doctor insisted he was doing fine. To demonstrate. Clearly shows the existence or truth of something. A few attempts have been made to demonstrate ecological challenges. The presentation was a great way to demonstrate our knowledge. The scientist used a model to demonstrate how a volcano erupts. The engineer used an example to demonstrate how a machine works. Up to the present. The circumstances and ideas of the present age. The problem existed at the start of the company up to the present. Up to the present, I have always been punctual for my appointments. The trend was established and is still in use up to the present time. They have been making cars from the 1940s up to the present day.